So we're recording this. We will send it out to you after this meeting, and anyone can go back and watch it anytime. If you would prefer to send someone who can't make it here to a different live session, let me know. We're kind of scheduling like one of these a week and doing multiple counties at a time. So they could certainly hop on with some other counties and see another live session. So when you type in CPT Rep Gen, you should get a screen like this that lists your reports. So it's sort of boring for me because I have no reports currently. But at the bottom, if you click View All Reports, you can see all the reports in your county. You can view, run, change any report that anyone has made. You just can't save changes to someone else's report. If you try to save changes, the system's going to queue you and say, would you like to save this as a new report? Because you can't save their old one. And you just rename it and make it yours. The navigation for our report generator is typically around the edge. So bottom, left, and top. At the top, we have this question mark. This brings you to a help page. This is our manual for the report generator. Every page that we're on has its own help page that walks you through what's going on that page. So if you have a question, this is a great place to start because it will explain basically everything on that page. And you can see this is the report list part of it. Once we get into a report, you'll see each page in there has its own help page. If we were in a report, this X would be blue. If you click the X, you get out of the report, you come back to this list. We can make a new report over here on the left by the new report. We also have a FAQ. On every page, there will be this FAQ over here. We've started it with just like the basics. If you watch this and then in 2 months you try to use it and you're like, Callie, I can't even remember where to start, you can try by just reading the basics. And then as we have frequently asked questions, we'll add to this. So far, we just have a repeating fields explanation because it can be helpful to have these pictures to understand repeating fields. So as you have questions, feel free to call in. If we get questions that are frequently asked, we'll add to that page. But then we can look at the center here. So we've got a bunch of columns, category, lists by type of report generator. So this is like the menu you would have found it in on the old report generator. They've all been combined into one. So we've got like assessor, auditor, treasurer previous year, ditches, sales ratio. When you make a new report, you say which category of report you want. That will determine which information set you grab. We can't currently go between two. There's talk of allowing you to grab two data sets, but that gets really complicated. So next to it, this is the user that owns it. The user that owns it is the one that can save it or can change it, can delete it. It just lets you know who basically made it. This name column, you can see these are all pulled from the old report generator because we've got your old shortcut dash the full name. When you make new reports, you do not have to make them in that style. You can just give them the name you want them to. You cannot rename a report, but you can certainly bop over here and copy it with a new name and just delete the old one. Really easy to do. So if you're like, I can never find it because it has a stupid name, just rename it. Make a new one. Also, when you hover over these here, you can see it says dot, dot, dot. That dot, dot, dot would be filled if there were notes in this report. And I'll show you where you put those notes. So if you have one and you're like, well, it's named this, but we really use it when Sue calls, then you just say like, Sue, when Sue calls and put that in the notes and it'll show up when you hover over the report. This tells you if it's a standard or custom. So standard reports come out in a grid. Custom reports come out as like a letter or a mailing or a label. It's pretty easy to make custom reports in our new report generator. We'll walk you through that. That was not the case in the old report generator. ID. Each report in our new report generator has its unique ID. So you can have two reports that are named the same thing because they will each have their own unique ID. And the way to tell the difference between them would be to see the date they were created or the date they were last run or like who owns them. So then we have the date created, the date last run. This can be really helpful to sort by. When you look at any of these columns, if you click on them, it will sort A to Z or 0 to 100. Click on them again and it switches. It sorts them Z to A or 100 to 0. If you click on it again, the sort goes away. You can also click on this little hamburger menu up here and type in something that you're looking for. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, do you have any custom reports? And it's going to pull up the custom reports for us. You see custom reports. There was an Excel icon over here that you can export for standard reports. Custom reports are always PDF. You can only export them with a PDF. Over here, this allows you to copy a report. I pulled that up. If you have someone else's report and you want to copy, or if you have one and you want to copy it to someone who's not very computer literate, you can do copy. You can change it to be their user and save it to them, right? This is going to generate a PDF. This is going to generate an Excel. So you don't have to go into the report to generate it. If you want to change the filters, you can change those filters to be what we call prompts, meaning when you click this, it's going to prompt and ask you what you want. So if you want to be able to run the same report for a different township each time without going in and navigating there and doing it, you can set the township to be a prompt, and then you just click this PDF and run it with that prompt. We'll show you how that works when we get in there. All right, any questions on this before we move forward? I'm happy to circle back if we talk about other things and you have questions then. So here's all the different types of report generators that we have. I'm going to start with an assessor's. We're going to pull the assessor's data. All right, so you can see that our navigation has changed. We still have our help menu. Again, this is going to pull up right now. We're on the fields tab. There is a help for the fields, for the print, for the sort, for the filters, the summary, the output. If they're unclear, holler at us. We wrote them, we can change them. We want them to be as helpful as possible. Again, this X would get us back to the report list. If we come over here, this would send us to the report list. If I wanted to make a new report, I can do it from here. If I open somebody's report and I'm like, oh, actually, this is the one I want, but I want to save it as, I can save it as me, make a copy of it. It also will prompt you to do that anytime it's saving. Again, we have our FAQs. Down at the bottom, you can cancel to go back to the report list, or you can use this next to navigate. It'll pop you one tab forward. So it'll pop you to the print. You can navigate back and forth through these by doing this, or you can click on the tab you want to go to. Depends on how you want to do it. The Save Report button is helpful because if you walk away from your computer, you want to hit the Save Report button. When you are in a report like this, you're basically seeing kind of the front end of the system. If you go between these tabs, any of this, you're seeing the front end of the system. The only way it like reaches out and touches the back is if you save it, or if you save and export, or if you go back to the report list. If you don't touch the back for an hour, we cut off your session. That's for security reasons. If you are in here for 20 minutes, we will give you a pop-up that says, hey, you haven't saved lately. Are you sure you want to continue? And if you click continue, then it touches the back for you. It renews your session. Your hour starts over. So if you're working on a report, you should never have issues with just being bumped and losing your data. But if you were to walk away, just make sure you click this save report at the bottom before you go to the counter and don't get back for longer than you thought you would. Okay, so on our fields tab, this is going to show you which fields you've selected. This field and this text go together. So this is like our shortcut for the field. Here's the name of the field. Some of these, if you hover over them, it gives you more information about that field. This file and file description are connected. So here's our shortcut for the file. Here's the description of the file. There are a lot of fields for those of you who haven't used our report generator much. What's nifty with this new one is if you're like, this is house and garage value, what other values are there, instead of having to go search for it, you can say, well, this is in TXAVAL. So I'm going to go up here, and if I click on this, I can say, I want TXAVAL, and I can see everything else that's in that file. These are all like the fields that are related. They tend to be like on the same menu, in the same data set. If you're looking for something and you're not sure what, you can easily see kind of what it's like. You can stack filters. So here we have, I want TXAVAL. I can come over here and I can sort A to Z. I can sort Z to A. I want things in TXAVAL that contain the value. So that can be really helpful for being able to like find the fields that you're looking for. So if I go back and I clear my filters, I'm going to start by adding a parcel number. Kind of my favorite go-to. We always want a parcel number. Here's a parcel value. Here's a parcel number. Then I'm going to add a couple of values. Now you can, the most common way to search is things that contains, but you can also say, I want something that contains, does not contain, or starts with. It explains this in the help menu. Those are the three that are most common for us. You know, when you're looking at like money type report generators, these can be helpful. They're not so helpful for us. But if I say like, I want things that start with value, that's going to give me a better option. So I want total market, and then I want house and garage. So I want to run this. Then I'm going to come up here. One of my favorite ones is township, city number. And while I'm at it, let's grab a taxpayer name reversed. All right, so if I wanted to see what fields I've selected, I can come over here and click selected. They're all at the bottom now. Selected, they're all at the top. So if I want to unselect any that I've selected, this is an easy way to see them and unselect. You can more easily like view the ones that you've selected by going into one of the other tabs and seeing which ones list. They're going to be in here. So in our print tab, let me make sure I haven't gotten anything. I don't usually miss stuff unless I get interrupted. Quiet bunch today. In our print tab, you can see the fields that I've selected and they're listed in the order I selected. You cannot sort these columns because these are listed in the order in which they will print. And over here, you can drag them to change that order. So the top one is going to be on the left and the bottom one is going to be on the right. So if I wanted to go township and then parcel, you can choose to print or not print fields. So you can have them selected, but I don't actually want them in this output. So instead of having to delete them and then go find them, you can just unselect them to unprint them. You can change the width of a column. So we put kind of like a general typical wanted width in here. You can make it larger or smaller. If you make it smaller, here, let's print this one. If you make it smaller, I should have brought my mouse. I'm using the common mouse and it's hyperactive. So if you make a alphanumeric field narrower than the maximum text, it's going to cut off text. If you make a numeric field narrower than the maximum text, it's only going to go as narrow as the largest number that's listed. So say you can have $100 million, but the biggest $100 million, yeah, but the biggest amount you have is 1 million, it's going to narrow to that 1 million width because I put a 0 in there. It will cut off totals, but it will not cut off numbers in the field. So we'll show you how that works here. And then this field and text and file and description, those are just same as they were in the previous tab. So it's giving you that information. This next tab, the sorting tab, tells us how to sort. Our default sort is a parcel sort. So that's what we'll go to. But you can also add sections and page breaks. If you add a page break, it automatically adds a section break. So a page break is a section break that also sends you to a new page. If you're going to break by something, you also have to sort by that thing. So I want to say I'm going to sort by township, and then I want to say let's sort by house and garage. So I'm going to sort by township, then I'm going to sort by house and garage, and I'm going to break by township, meaning I'm going to get all my summary data by township. It's going to give me a new page for every township. Filters. Filters is one of my favorite tabs. So here, this is how you like make sure you don't print your whole county every time you run a report. I'm going to filter by township city. You can choose your condition. You can say township city equals, township city number equals 1. That's going to give me one township 1. I can say does not equal 1. I'm going to get everything but 1. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, those all work great. Like works for alphanumeric fields. So if you say like 4th, you're going to get everything that's 4th Street, right? Or 4th, whatever. Doesn't work very well for number fields. We don't do like 1 or whatever. One of my favorites here is to do a range. When you do a range, it forces a prompt. This is where we talked about you can have these prompts that will pull up anytime you try to like submit or run a report. It's going to ask you what you want. For all of these other conditions, you can choose whether or not you want the prompt, whether you want to put it in here or whether you want to prompt and put it in when you submit. For range, you have to do it upon submission. It's going to force that prompt. And then I'm going to say house and garage is not equal to 0. So we're only going to get parcels that have a house and garage value in our range of townships. Summary data, here's where we're going to get this by everything we broke by. So I'm going to show you what these counts do by getting it for that. And then we'll do this. You can only get totals, min, max, average for like value fields. We don't really care about the min or max of a parcel number. You maybe know that by what you put into your filter. But when you're getting like dollars out, that's when we care. So if you can't get it by that field, they're grayed out. Like I couldn't get this if I wanted to. So we're going to do that here. Output, this is a really interesting screen. So summary only. If I clicked yes here, I would only get the amounts for my breaks, for my section and page breaks and totals. But I'm going to say no, so I'm going to get details. You can click portrait or landscape. You can click your paper size. Here you can do PDF or Excel. Now, no matter which one you pick, if you take it from the report list, you can get either. Remove protected officials is automatically a no, but if you're generating a report for the public where you want them removed, you can say yes. Stagger total lines. There's a reason why you would want to do this, and we will show you that when I do my output. Options page. I'm going to show you what the options page looks like. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say yes to printing report notes, and we'll show you what that looks like when we submit it here. So the subheading, I'm just going to put subheading so you can see where it is, and then down here notes. So these are going to print both on my options page, or even if I don't print them on my options page, on that report list, when I hover over this report, it's now going to say Susie Notes. Over here, I can change my margins. I can change my font size. So if you're trying to get your report all onto one page, you can go to your print tab and you can change the column widths. You can also change your margins or your font size. There we have it. Your session is about to expire. Would you like to continue? You will get this at the 20-minute mark. When I click continue, it restarts my session. So now I have an hour before I would get kicked off again. I almost went too fast to not get that. Once I submit and save, I wouldn't get it. What? Do I want this? Is this going to make it easier for me, you think? Trish is trying to save me from myself. Okay. But you can mess with these margins or font size to get it to be the way you want it to. Okay, so if we submit and save, it's going to give us our prompt. So I told it to ask what range of townships we want. I'm just going to do 1 to 2. So we're going to get townships 1 and 2. And then the output goes to your downloads folder. So it'll show you here, but also if you go to the downloads folder on your computer. So if I go here and I go to my downloads, here's my output. I have been doing a lot of report generator testing, folks. there's all my outputs, but they save there, so they're really easy to find. So here it is. This is my options page. And my options page is a great way to like save what you did in case you wonder like which report is this in the future. It's a great way to share reports between counties. It should give you all the information you would need to put in for all the tabs in order to generate this same report. And I think at your meetings this fall, I might grab a options page and show you how to build a report based on that. You can see that we said yes to notes, so the notes are printing here. If I had said no, this would just, it wouldn't say report notes, there would be no notes. And then if I go down here, you can see, remember I made my taxpayer name 10 wide? So it's cutting me off at 10. And it's showing me like there's more info that's not listed here. I only am getting info for house and garage, or for parcels that have house and garage. And then my total market, I took that down to 0, but it's only making it as small as my largest field. But it would cut off this total if I had done that. No, let me just do this so that I can show you. I'm going to go change the print order, and then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So if I go down, now my total market is to the right. You see it didn't cut off my total market, but my total is running into the one to the left. This is where you might want to stagger your total lines. And I'll go back and change that so you can see. But I went down till I got my first summary, and it's at the bottom of the report. Remember how I had said that I wanted those summaries by township and I didn't get one here? There's a real easy reason for that. So let me go back here. I'm going to stagger my total lines. This is pretty common where you say that you want data by something. You can only get data by a field if you're printing that field. So even if you don't really need your township city, because you've got that information in your parcel number, if you want that summary data, you have to print the category you're getting summary data for. So if I come up here, you can see I now have summary data. This is what it looks like when it's staggered. It looks a little ugly, but it's actually really nice because you can see all this. You can see here the counts. It's not counting unique items, it's counting number of items. It's saying I have 71 township ones, I have 71 parcels, I have 71 records. It's just counting the total number listed. If there were some lines that were blank, it would not count those lines, and we'll circle back and do that. So I'm getting summary data for township 1, summary data for township 2, and then summary data for the whole report. That's how that will work. Any questions? I'm just going to keep adding on here. We're only getting more complicated. Any questions? Okay. If I go back to filters, I didn't really talk about it before because we kept this and. Your filter can be and, or your filter can be or. So if I say I want this township city range and house and garage values, or I want parcels that have a total market or records that have a total market value greater than 100,000. I think I did 1,000,000 actually. Let's just change that and we'll go back to our output. Now you can see I have this cancel button here. If you, like I have done, accidentally run something without adding any filters and you're like in Treasurer's previous year and it's pulling millions of pieces of data and you would sit there for 10 minutes while it loads and you're like, I just want it to stop. You can now click that cancel, go back and add your filter. So if I did this now, you can see I have all of these here that have these large market values and have no house and garage.
Oh,
Yes.
You're muted.
seriously?
Oh. I wish I could see who was talking. Whoever's talking, we can hear you. Okay. Um, so when we don't, I told it to sort by township and then by house and garage. If there is no house and garage, it's going to go back to its automatic parcel sort. When it's not sure what, if there's nothing left, it just automatically goes back to a parcel sort. So it's sorting by parcel. And then here, once we have house and garage, now we're sorting by house and garage. And then we're getting our township totals. Now, if you haven't noticed, my listing is getting really long. I actually have 3, 4, 5. I have the whole county, everything that's greater than 1 million in here. And that's because of the way these filters work. I like to think of it as like the or is stronger than the and. The or like breaks the filters. So this or is saying we're going to pull everything that meets the filters before it or meets the filters after it. So we're getting everything in Township 1 and 2 with house and garage and everything that has a total market value greater than 1 million. Now, if I still only want Township 1 and 2, I would need to re-add that filter down here because that or is between the township, it like breaks them in half. So we're doing, that's looking at the first two and then it's looking at everything after it. So if I do the township city, say I just want, well, no, I'll do the range again so you can see. And while I'm at it, this is confusing to me. So if I do that or, then this is the one that I put in before where we're doing township 1 to 2. Here's the second one that I just put in where it's saying, how, what do you want for the second set of filters? And there's my count, then I cancel. It will kind of walk through 1%, 2%, 5% for you on the bottom right. So here I have township 1 greater than 1 million and township 2 greater than 1 million, and then we're done. So that's something to be thoughtful about with your filters is that or. Okay. I'm going to move on to custom reports. Custom reports is a different option for printing. So it's in the print tab. If you go to the print tab and you click on custom reports, it gives you a sheet. This is a sheet and it's laid out in portrait. Over here are the options to change it. This gets rid of it. And if you sit, it will clear out all entries. We'll have nothing on there, but yes, and it sends you back to your standard report. Here is a zoom. It's not actually going to change anything in reality. It's just going to change the size on the screen. Over here, we can get our font size up and down. We can make something bold. I'll show you that once we get font on the page. You can change portrait to landscape and back again. You can change the type of paper and you can change the margins here. Now, portrait to landscape, margins, paper type, those are the same. If you change them here, they will change on the output. If you change them in the output, they will change them here. It's just different ways of, and then we have an undo and redo. So if we want to do that, we can, which is kind of slick. So if we go here, you always input at the left side of the page. If you want to move something in, you would just add spaces before it and then put that information in. So I'm going to start by inserting text and I'm going to say to, and this is kind of small, so I could take the font up to, and then I'm going to say taxpayer name. And then if I get a parcel number underneath it, then I want to show you a report field. So when you look in here, whenever you hit that plus and you input a field, you can input text, a field, or you can add or remove rows. When you click remove row, you remove the row you're on. When you click add row, you add a row below it. So if you click report field, it pulls up all the fields that you've selected. If you go in here and there's not something that you want, you just go back to the fields tab, you get it, you come back here, it'll be here for you. When you're in here, you can sort using the same sort options we had before. You can trim. I'll show you what this trim looks like. Well, maybe we'll just trim the one we're going to do. You can trim it here. You can also trim it later, and I'll show you that too. The repeating field is a Y. So Repeating fields matter, especially for custom reports. They matter for this menu and they matter for filter sorting, for sorting. So a repeating field is anything that can occur more than once on a parcel. So anything recorded, anything attached to the record, anything attached to a special assessment or a ditch. These are things that can happen multiple times on a parcel, meaning they're repeating on that parcel. So they're going to be marked here with a Y. And if you're having something goofy, often it's because of repeating fields. You can reach out with questions. So if I click this total market value, I can say the number of lines I want to repeat. That's the number of detail lines. So up to how many records of value do I want to list? I'm going to say 2. Detail is going to list by record. Total is going to list by parcel. If I say both, it's actually going to input 2 fields. It's going to input a details field that lists up to 2 records and a total field. I can also say non-repeat. So like if I was to pull the parcel number from a file has records in it, that's a repeating field file, that parcel number will technically be repeating because it's attached to the records. But I could insert it here as a non-repeating field saying like only list it once. Oh, so we have this little bug where when I input repeating fields, they don't show up. And I was going to use a different county, but the repeating fields were not showing up in that county. And so I ditched it for Renville, and then now repeating fields. The computer gods hate me today is the moral of this story. Um, okay, so you can't see them because the computer gods are keeping them from us, but there is a repeating field here. But let me just show you. You can, if I go down here and I say, I'll enter text. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We can go in here and you can trim. If I select one of these, I can go here and I can trim it or not trim it. I can make it bold or remove the bold. I can do that here too. I can do this bold or not bold. If I don't want to do the whole field bold, I can go over here and select it, and then I can go over here and make it bold. That makes that only, it actually is going to split this. So now this is bold and these two are not, but it's a way to make something bold in the middle when you forgot you wanted to do that, or if you didn't want to stop typing or whatever. This is going to make everything on that page larger or smaller. And then before we move on, I'm going to show you labels, and then we'll export as labels and we'll see if we get what we want. So labels, we have some preset labels in here. We have your Avery 3x10. We have your Avery 2x4. You can start with one of these and make them. We had one county that had 3x10s, but they weren't Avery, so they were slightly different, but we were able to mess with these margins here so that it centered on their labels. So you just go in here and you change the margins. Once you make this labels, that will show up on your output page. So if you have a question about how you set it up, you can save that for future reference. If you make something labels, you set up this top left label, and then each label after it is kind of like the next page in a custom report or the next line in a regular report. Okay, so if I go here and I submit. Okay, so because I still have an options page, this is true if you do Excel or if you do custom, it's going to send a file to your downloads folder that has your options page and your other output. So here's my, yeah. So you can see I have 2 and the name. I have the parcel number, and then I added the market values, and this is the listing up to 2 value records. Here's the total. I think if I scroll down, I hit multiple, here we go. This one has 2 value records and a total. And then it's going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's You have to be thoughtful about how you lay this out because one label is running into the other because we made them too big. The other thing I want you to notice here is that this isn't actually laid out very well. There's no space here. I didn't put a space there on purpose because if I go back, there's no space. If I were to select this and go over and put a space, it would add that space. So if I say taxpayer, and then let's say I want to put something here, hello. This is going to show you what happens because I did not trim it. I go to my output. Oh, shoot. I'm going to turn off my options page because I don't want to have to keep digging through these. Oh, it is being trimmed. Oh, no, it's not being trimmed, but it is being trimmed. Why does it say it's not being trimmed, but it is being trimmed? See how it's trimming it for me? It's making it the width that I want. Let's try again. Remember what I said about the computer gods hating me? I'm really good at breaking things, folks. Nope, it's just automatically trimming everything. Well, so in general, if you were to put in a field here, it would give you the full width of that field. So if that field could be up to 31 wide, that field would be 31 wide. And trimming is how you make it only as wide as the data within it. So if you're like, why is there all this white space around a value or a name or whatever? It's because that file hasn't been trimmed, and trimming is how you would get rid of that white space that I can't get to appear. Okay. Oh, you can also add, just to show you this, data in between. So if you hover on a field and I click this plus, I can add something in the middle. If I hover on this and I click, I can add something in the middle. That's how you add something in the middle. And then if I was to like delete a row, if I go here, I can remove this row. And if I go here and I add a row, it'll add a row below. All right, so that's, I'm going to save. If I go back to my report list and I hover over this report, it now tells me Susie's notes, because that's what I put in the notes. Anything you put in the notes will show up on this page. I'm going to dig into, we have some special rules. So if you had 2 years of files, when you clicked submit, it would give you a prompt saying, do you want New Year files or not? The other automatic prompt is for CAMA. And we have a couple of special rules with CAMA that I'm going to go over real quick here. If you have questions, don't be afraid to holler. I'm going to grab a parcel number. And I'm going to grab major and minor categories. So if I click major and minor categories, you can see I have a parcel number and I have HQA major and minor. You can sort them however you want. It's in the filters that it matters. Major and minor categories in CAMA have a few rules that are in this help menu if you wonder about them later. You cannot add a minor category without having the associated major category. In fact, if you haven't selected it in the Fields tab and you try to sort by a minor category, it will go back, select the major category, and add it here. Also, when you add a HQA major or minor category, it requires a prompt. And we'll show you how those prompts work. Actually, I think I don't even need, and you can get summary data for it if you want. But if I submit, so again, if you had New Year and Old Year, it would give you that automatic prompt. CAMA is the other automatic prompt that we get where it asks you which Camel library do you want? And then here, if you, this is the HQA major prompt, it's going to make you select one and then submit. And then for minor category, you're going to select two. And it's going to tell you up here, this is the major category that you're selecting for. Which minor category do you want? And if you had multiple, it would give you that info up above about adding multiple. So when we do that, it's going to list those for us. All right, that's all the information I have for you. I am guessing that nobody was following along very closely or making their own report because I think I just flew through that. But go for it, use it. It's, once you get going, it's actually pretty easy. If you have questions, holler my way. I'm happy to build, you know, your first report with you, talk you through it, get you started on your first custom report. We plan to talk at the auditors meeting next month about some like late and delinquent letters and notices. And then we'll probably go on and make some standard ones that we'll pump out there to everyone based on the conversations we've had. So you have something to start with. But otherwise, that's it. Can't stop my recording here.